Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Cinemacast, our movie review podcast, right here on YouTube channel and on Rumble. Please hit that like and subscribe button down below if you guys enjoy our content. If you guys want to follow on social media or our Discord server, links for everything are down below in the description section. I was debating, should I really review this movie called The Mousetrap, or also known as Mickey's Mousetrap. Oh my god. I even went into watching this film knowing how terrible this movie was going to be. And even though there are people who enjoy crap like this, people who are like, oh yeah, this movie was awesome, man, it was awesome, it's cool to see something from Disney going around killing people and such, which sort of is the idea. So if you've been living under a rock for the last 2 to 3 years, Disney has lost their exclusivity. I can't even pronounce the word right. Let's say that they lost their copyright to some character franchises, in a sense. I was going to say horror. I wish. So they lost the copyright and all to Winnie the Pooh, Peter Pan, Bambi, a whole bunch of Disney characters or that were related to Disney. Their copyrights went up with the last 2 or 3 years. And now with a slew of these so-called horror films that have been made over the last, mind you, over 35 years, and then some. Like, if you're within my age group, you probably remember movies from the 80s or even the 90s titled Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, Return of the Killer Tomatoes, or how about the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman or something like that. I can't remember, but movies like this have been around for decades, almost an entire century, right? There are people who are suckers for movies like this. There are people who are, they seen them or they know of them and they're like, yeah. Even some of the big names in indie horror, or even the companies like Trauma Entertainment, Lloyd Kaufman, who's made movies like The Toxic Avenger, movie about this scrawny little guy who is like a custodian in a sense, who gets picked on and bullied by these real cool big gang members who are very violent, and they shove him in a batch of toxic waste, killing him off. And the movie is just extremely violent, but there are people who are out there like me that, you know, do appreciate a good extremely graphic movie and such, you know, when it comes to that type of horror. But, you know, movies like this have existed for so many years. There's movies called Thanksgiving, Monster, Rubber, Killer Sofa, Attack of the Killer Donuts, Killer Condom, for fuck's sake, you know. Anything that can be an inanimate object or related to something that is cute and colorful. I'm surprised there hasn't been a Barney the Killing Dinosaur yet. I'm surprised there hasn't been anything of that nature. But within the last 3 years, there have been movies titled Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, about these serial killer versions of Winnie the Pooh and Tigger and Piglet in the woods, killing off these people in horrific ways. And of course, there is a Peter Pan horror movie that just came out or is coming out. There's one called Bambi: The Reckoning, and then they're taking it down the Marvel road. You know how Marvel has their cinematic universe with Disney, you know, Iron Man and all them with the Avengers. Well, yeah, Winnie the Pooh, There was going to be a Pooniverse, they called it the Pooniverse, you know, where all those once Disney icons that are now horror icons to the indie underground, they're definitely getting their own version of the Marvel Cinematic Universe here soon. It's going to be ridiculous, but this is going to be one of those that I don't know is going to fall in line with the Winnie the Pooh movies, but it's anywhere but possible. And this movie, I found it watching, I believe I was on Peacock. If you guys have Peacock, if you want to see this movie, by all means, go right on ahead. This is a 2024 Canadian slasher film. While it's a slasher film, they forgot to add comedy slasher, because I did more laughing and head shaking in this film than I was impressed by anything at all. So this was from Canada. It's a Canadian slasher. Them Canadas, they really got some kind of horror going on up there right now, politically and in the movie genre, I guess. So this is a horror movie reimagining of Walt Disney's 1928 animated short film Steamboat Willie, the first appearance of Mickey Mouse. Now, mind you, it was January 2024 when Disney released, or their copyright for Steamboat Willie expired, which means Disney no longer owns the rights to Steamboat Willie, which as soon as that happened, there were talks immediately of somebody taking that idea and turning it into a horror movie, because they did it with Winnie the Pooh, they did it with Peter Pan, Bambi, whoever else Disney cut loose. Steamboat Willie is nearing almost 100 years old, people. Came out in 1928, and here it is, 2025. So 3 years shy. The Steamboat Willie is almost 100 years old. Walt Disney decided, hey, we don't need Steamboat Willie anymore. We got our own version of Mickey Mouse. You know, you can keep Steamboat Mickey, you know, for you. Okay. Hey, guess what, everybody? Disney cut him loose. Let's turn him into a movie. And sure enough, right after it was done. Okay, Steamboat Willie. Let me see if I can find where the copyright status is at. Okay. So January 1st, it was cut into public domain. The film had been the center of a variety of general controversies regarding copyright. Its copyright was extended to multiple times by the acts of the United States Congress. Since the copyright was filed in 1928, 3 days after its initial release, it was repeatedly extended for nearly a century. So it went through a lot of different copyrights with Steamboat Willie, the original Mickey Mouse. And finally, it all expired. It was cut loose from Disney. And this was January 1st, 2024. This movie was released 8 months later, August 6th, 2024. So you could definitely tell that this movie, they did not take their time with this movie at all. They went in, they shot it, they put it together, boom, here's your fucking movie, enjoy. That's basically what they did. So between January 1st and they had 7 months to film this atrocity and get it out there, and they did. The film stars Phillips. What is his name? Philip. It says stars Phil. Okay, Simon Phillips. Was he the actor in this thing? Okay, so that's a character. I'm sorry. Simon Phillips is Mickey Mouse. Tim Collins. Okay, so Simon Phillips is the actor. He was born. He was an Irish actor. Okay, was there any films that I known him in that I may have seen him in? and I am not seeing anything that is recognizable. I don't know any of these films that he was in. Hey, there's Strippers versus Werewolves. That's a British comedy horror. UFO. Okay, so a lot of things that he's done are they're all British based basically. So yeah, he was an Irish actor born in Tuam, but he did a lot of British films. He was mainly starring British films, and then he comes over here and stars in this Canadian slasher film. That's a big turn of events. So this film stars Simon Phillips as the hypnotized manager masked as Mickey, who traps and terrorizes a group of friends inside an amusement arcade. Originally titled Mickey Mouse's Trap, the film was announced on January 1st, 2024, the same day that Steamboat Willie went into public domain. As Disney still retains exclusive rights to the depictions of the character for their own franchise, the film avoids any changes to his design from later appearances. The film later changed its title to The Mousetrap in July of 2024, and of course, The Mousetrap was originally set for a worldwide theatrical release March 2024, but had several delays. Okay, so it took them just under 3 months to film this movie. Under 3 months, people. They announced it January 1st, just as soon as it went public domain. They were supposed to release it in March, but it had several delays. It eventually got released on demand in the United States on August 6th and Blu-ray August 13th by Gravitas Ventures. The movie received negative reviews from critics, and it's getting a sequel titled The Mousetrap: Welcome to the Mickeyverse, which is in production. Jesus Christ, I'm just like, I don't know if I want to know what's going to be involved with that movie. So let's see, works that are based on copyright-free Mickey Mouse. Let's see. Okay, so there is a movie that is coming out, or did come out April 2nd, titled Screamboat, which will be another review once I check out that movie. So yeah, there is another Steamboat Willie movie, a slasher film in which Mickey Mouse turns into a mutated creature that starts a murderous rampage on a ferry. Oh boy! Maybe I'm going to have to check that one out too. Oh my fucking god. Let's get into this movie. So if you have not seen this movie, guys, go watch it. It's on Peacock. Go check it out. Come back. Watch the rest of the view. If not, here the hell we go. Detectives Cole and Marsh. Mind you, the beginning of this movie, it just feels so very C-class status for a type of movie like this. And it's shot in a particular way that I do not quite care for, because it just feels rushed. It feels very cheap, and it's very corny. And it's something that you cannot really take seriously. You're just like, oh my god, the acting. I will tell you all right now, the acting in this movie is extremely horrible. I've seen bad acting in movies like this. This movie, it does not take itself serious. In fact, the movie is 80 minutes long. The movie, when I started watching this, and I watched it with my fiance, it started out, I kid you not, with a Star Wars opening scroll. I shit you not. The fact that this scroll was playing music that was almost similar to Star Wars, and the credits, it was scrolling through. It was breaking the fourth wall, basically, talking about how this is not a Disney movie. If it was, this and that, just a whole bunch of mumbling bullshit. And you're reading it, and you're just like, huh? What? And this goes on for about a minute and a half that you're reading this. Almost about as long as you would with Star Wars. You know, usually Star Wars, you watch the scroll, you're reading about the story a little bit, background and all, and then you get into the movie. Some people just fast forward through it. This movie here, it has it. I don't know how they got by with doing something that is been a staple for Star Wars. Even though, yes, there are other movies who have done it, who have taken the liking to it or whatever, but, you know, movies like Star Wars started it. So, yeah, the movie starts out with a Star Wars intro scroll, and I'm just sitting there reading it, and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. I already knew, like, from that opening sequence, what the hell I was in for. And I sat through it. I sat through this movie. I sat the fuck through this movie. And I just wanted to turn it off at some point because it did get boring. There is an area where it was just laughingly boring. And then it made fun of itself for being like that too. So after the whole painful scroll, Detective Coles and Marsh attempt to interview Rebecca, a survivor of a recent massacre at the amusement arcade, so that they can learn who was behind the murders. Rebecca is reluctant and claims that they all will be killed if she tells them, and eventually begins to explain what happened. So now we go back into past tense. While in the past, arcade employees Alex and Jaina are told by their boss Tim Collins to stay on a late shift due to last-minute booking. Later, while watching a copy of Steamboat Willie in the back on a film projector, Tim comes across a Mickey Mouse mask that begins speaking to him. And it's in a case, it's in a glass case, it's just sitting there, it starts laughing, it starts talking to him, and I'm just like, oh, I already know where this is going to go. I thought it was just going to be like some random serial killer going to come in and do all this. No, it's just a mask that starts speaking to him, puts him in a trance, and he puts the mask on, and he becomes the killer Mickey Mouse. After Jaina leaves the arcade, Alex witnesses Tim wearing the mask as he chains up one of the exits. Worried, Alex attempts to flee but stumbles upon her boyfriend Marcus and his other friends. As it is revealed, the booking was arranged by them to throw a surprise birthday party for her. So as the party goes into full swing, which is probably about, 20-25 minutes of this movie, Ryan gathers everyone's phones in the bags and leaves them on a counter. Meanwhile, Paul and Jackie head to the jungle gym to have sex. Yes, there's a sex scene. And there's always a sex scene in a shit movie like this too. And of course they die, because in every horror movie we've known that we've watched for the last century and so, if you had sex in a horror movie, you die. You just die. So the couple is attacked by Mickey, and he kills them with a knife. The rest of the group learn that the exits are chained off shut and their phones have been stolen. And then they split up looking for Paul and Jackie, while Rebecca encounters Mickey, who is now able to teleport, but is easily scared off by flashing lights. Yes. In this movie, this normal guy, puts on this mask, who is tranced, who is hypnotized by this mask. He can teleport. And it's not that, like, when you watch Friday the 13th, Jason's there 1 minute, and you manage to escape him, and then next thing you know, you're on the other side of the woods, and he just pops up, and he just stabs you in the fucking gut. No. You literally see this guy teleport. He just boop, disappears like a fart in the wind. No special effects. He doesn't just fade. He just boop, gone. But his kryptonite in the film is flashing lights, strobing lights, like that shit that will give you a seizure. Strobing lights, But like I said, there is a scene in this movie that is very boring. It's like a lover scene where these two characters are just like having a conversation, revealing this to each other and this and that and all, and then they break the fourth wall and talk about how, oh yeah, now let's go do this, let's go do that, kind of thing. So this movie is very self-aware. It's almost like they made this movie as a joke. They were not taking this shit seriously. It was a joke. So Mickey ends up wounding character Marie, but she manages to escape before he can kill her. She informs Alex and Marcus, who believe Ryan is the one who is attacking them, since he is nowhere to be found. Alex then discovers that the lights and the phone lines are down before she, Marcus, and Marie find corpses of Paul and Jackie. Alex activates the arcade's fire alarm in order to alert emergency services, but Mickey kills Gemma and Danny, and then teleports into the laser tag arena and slits Rebecca's ankle. I'm not going to get too much more into this film, but let's just say it ends on a very sour note as she is sitting there still talking to these detectives saying, everybody's going to die if I tell you this, if I tell you that. But let's just say they try to kill Mickey off, but he ends up shutting off the now he has telekinetic powers. In the end, not only is he able to teleport himself, he has telekinesis. So you learn now, oh, I got telekinesis. I could do this. So he shuts off the strobing lights and then teleports away, but not before he decapitates somebody, before finally disappearing. And then now you're back at the present time where the detectives refuse to believe that this all happened, and then they leave this poor girl Rebecca locked inside of her cell, and then the movie ends. But there is a post-credit scene where Mickey arrives at the police station, frees Rebecca from her cell, and tells her that there are some people he wants her to meet. Rebecca smiles at Mickey and follows him. Who these people are? Jesus Christ, only one can imagine. It's probably part of the fucking Winnie the Pooh universe. I have no idea, but that's where a sequel is going to come in. It's going to probably release sometime this year or next year. Who the hell knows? Let's look at the reception of this movie. Oh God, guys, I made it through telling you about the plot of that movie. It's just absolutely ridiculous. So, writing for The Guardian, Phil Hode awarded the film 1 out of 5 stars, criticized the film's existence as a parasitic, out of copyright grave robber, while also having a convoluted, sloppy story. Deciders John Serba criticized the film's character, dialogue, and Bailey's direction, ultimately comparing the film unfavorably to Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, a horror film similarly based on another public domain character. Variety's Dennis Harvey wrote, "There's no attempt to mimic the famous squeaky voice, to parody or even reference anything else in the Mouse House universe. The sum impact is like a joke with a promising enough setup but no punchline." That is one thing too. I was kind of hoping you would hear ha ha ha, but nope. You just hear, "I'm gonna kill you." Strobing lights. You're just so laughing like bad. And the fact that they are making a sequel to this film that has been in production. It has been in production since September last year. So more likely the sequel will come out this year or next year. Oh my God, it is just so painful to talk about a movie that was just so painful to watch and experience. Like, I've seen a lot of bad films based off of inanimate objects or even cartoon characters and such. Like, Even a movie titled The Banana Splits, which was a horror movie that was based off a 1960s family TV show. Even a movie like that, as cringy as it was, I would give that movie a lot more praise than I would something like this. It's almost like these people had an idea for a movie to take this icon that was just thrown out there in public domain and say, "Hey, here, do whatever you want with it. I don't care." And then you just like, "Hey, horror movie idea. Let's do it." And you get such a small place for such a small cast of characters, and then it's just ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. You're trying to follow along with what's going on, especially with this character that can teleport from one spot to another, and then they're like, "How did you get here so fast?" And then you got the other character that's like, "I told you he could teleport. He's been teleporting. He's been disappearing and popping up in random spots." Like, all I could do was just sit there and stare blankly into my television watching this movie. There was really nothing though. It's laughingly bad. There are people that will watch this and laugh and be like, "Oh my god, this is horrible." But for me, I'm just like not really in a state of shock, but the fact that I'm watching this, and even though I have watched other monstrosities in my time and I can laugh at those, like with this, I just don't know what these Canadians were thinking. I'm sorry. These Canadians were, "Oh, we'll beat America to the punch. You know, we'll be the ones that will make a movie about a killer Mickey Mouse." Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'll check out Screamboat sometime and see if that fared any better than this sack of shit. So this movie here, like I said, it's very, very dulled out. It's trying to be something else. It's convoluted. It's sloppy. You know, it's just trying to be something of the Winnie the Pooh movies that came out. It's a joke. This movie is just a joke. It's like it wants to try to parody it, but then it's like it tries to be serious. But let me tell you something. When you got something like this, if you know it's going to be a joke from the beginning, stick with it being a parody. There's nothing wrong with having a comedy horror film. Comedy horror has been a genre, a subgenre for decades. For decades, people, and people have accepted them. They're brilliant movies. Like even Return of the Living Dead, a comedy horror film, still has a good amount of horror in it that is bound to terrorize you if you're a kid watching it, but still has some really good comedic references to it. Whereas a movie like this, it's labeled as a Canadian slasher, but it's just so laughingly bad. Like, I would have just wanted them to parody the fact that Steamboat Mickey is here to kill, you know? But this movie, it just, everything was just bad about it. The script was bad. The acting was absolutely terrible. I don't even know any of these actors. That you can't even find them on Wikipedia. They're all blanked out. So I imagine they were only probably in like 2 or 3 movies, and this was a horrible one for them. So yeah, this movie, if you go into watching it, if you really want to see this movie, guys, just go into it very tongue-in-cheek. Go into it with very, very low expectations. There are people out there that like these movies. There are people that appreciate them. That's their cup of tea. Go for it. Me, on the other hand, like, yeah, I do watch these shitty movies, but then I'm like, what the fuck? Where is this? Where my life has gone? Is this what my life is? Watching movies like this that actually exist. I mean, there can't be anything any worse, can there? Well, the fact that there was a movie that came out over 10 years ago called Rubber, about a killer tire that just rolls around in the desert killing people with telekinetic powers, but that's another story. So my rating on this film, I will say that it it definitely tried to be somewhat entertaining, even if it's for like 5 minutes or so. It could have been more entertaining if the acting was a lot more better. It's a bad movie. We get it. But the acting is what brought this movie down. This cast of characters, I swear, they have no acting experience. What are they doing making a movie like this? I would have rather seen James Woods or Mike Myers or anybody else film something like this. You got a cast of people who have no acting experience whatsoever. And that is the big bullet that shot this movie down hard. Was the fact that the acting was completely bad. The script was horrible. This movie should not even get a sequel at all. I mean, the fact that it exists alone is like, wow. But for them to make a sequel to it, yeah, I would rather watch a shit YouTube video than to watch something like this. Like I said, it tries to get in some kind of entertainment value to it, so I will give it a decent grade of a 2 out of 10. So that is my grade for it, 2 out of 10. While it does have the potential to be entertaining, the potential to be enjoyable, it's shot down hard by incredibly horrible acting, a script that is just like, what the fuck, burn this now. And of course, you know, special effects for an indie film, like, it is what it is. You know, you got practical effects, so it's nothing really CG related, so, which is good. You know, I would rather have a movie that uses practical effects than CG or AI, because you know that shit's fake. I'd rather go with practical effects where somebody actually put in the money and time to make something look realistic rather than do it on a computer. So I guess I could say 2 out of 10 for The Mousetrap. And that does it for today's episode, guys. What did you think about The Mousetrap? Did you watch it? Did you see it? What are your thoughts and feelings on this movie? Please let me know down in the comments section, guys. And thank you for joining me today. Please leave a like and subscribe down below. Today's feature was The Mousetrap, a big piece of rotting goat shit. I'm done. I'm out of here. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, I'll see you right back here at the cinema.